core of permaculture. You might get challenged as by a professional about, could be anything, could be architecture. Who's our architect? Could be architecture. All right. So your man is an architect, so he can answer professionally. But the rest of us aren't architects. So you might have to back up if an architect starts to challenge you with their professional knowledge. But during this course, we will talk about the undeniable truth of architecture that's specific for climate, passive solar architecture, thermal massing architecture, insulation in architecture, wind cooling in tropics architecture. There are undeniable truths about architecture and the way you should design to make it more energy efficient. And it's the same in every discipline. There are undeniable truths at the centre of each discipline. You just can't deny that. That is the core of the subject. Right? That anchors the subject. From there you can add on and make connections from one subject to another. You can connect the house to the garden, and you can connect the garden to wastewater system. You can make all these connections. So any of the subjects that have a professional base, you might find you get challenged at times, and you can't really stand up to a professional challenge. So you might have to back up a bit until you get to that undeniable truth. So that you can't deny that architecture has to be efficient in this way, or whatever subject you're talking about. You can't deny that water only moves at right angle to contour. That's a constant. There are even constants in the world that you can't deny. Now, there's a New Age saying that says this: the only constant is change, man. It's not true. Some things are absolutely constant. It's not just change that's constant. Evaporation cools, condensation warms. Absolute constant. You can guarantee it. It's physics. It's a fact of physics. The ethics are the core of permaculture. You can back up if you're challenged, but you can't go past the ethics. It's the ethics that anchor the subject. It's the centre of the subject. It is a design science, yes, but you have to say it's an ethical design science. It begins with ethics. One of the troubles with science is it doesn't necessarily have ethics. It's not governed by ethics. There's a lot of unethical things that have been created scientifically. And today we have incredibly dangerous things going on with genetically modified organisms. And we really don't have any idea what we're doing. It's literally like playing Russian roulette. You put one bullet in the gun, spin the barrel, and see whether, bang, it's in the chamber. You don't know what's coming round. We nearly stopped 1/5 of the world's rain. In the 1970s, no one knew what GMO was in the 1970s. There wasn't that terminology. But science was already playing around with genetically modified organisms and releasing them. Luckily, the scientific community rose up in arms and said, you can't genetically modify Pseudomonas syringae and release it just to try and stop frost on strawberries. You might stop 1/5 of the world's rain. Now, most people wouldn't know what Pseudomonas syringae is. Pseudomonas is a genus. Syringae is a species. Syringae, it means like a syringe, like a needle. Latin-based language, you've got a lot of the origin in the name. Pseudomonas. Pseudomonas is a bacteria that sits on the leaves of all plants. And there's a lot of them out there. There's billions of them sitting on top of trees and forests. And they're kind of spiky little microorganisms. And when the wind blows, they blow off like tiny little specks of dust, even smaller. they're microorganisms, and they fly in the wind. They get blown, like dandelion clocks. They get blown, but they're miniature, and they go up into the clouds, and they accumulate ice. Ice accumulating nuclei. Rain doesn't just fall. Rain is responsible for falling ice. Ice nuclei gather around dust. Ice nuclei gather around salt crystals blown off the ocean, evaporated off the ocean with salt. So the center of every raindrop, there's something that started the ice accumulation. If it's come off a forest, it's an oxygen isotope 20. If it's come off the ocean, it's an oxygen isotope 18. You can actually measure it. It's scientifically known. Now, when it rains from a forest, you've got a Pseudomonas syringae usually right in the middle of the raindrop. A tiny little microorganism that started the ice to accumulate, it got heavier and heavier, then fell. So, genetically, we modified this organism to not have spikes, to have bumps. They could not have a few bumps, but they modified the organism not to be spiky, to stop frost on strawberries. They're going to spray it out on strawberries to try, because it also is what causes frost damage on crop. The fact that ice accumulates on the Pseudomonas syringae when you have a frost-sensitive crop. So to make money, we decided to risk science. We can do it. We decided to risk letting these organisms go, and if they just started to cross-pollinate, if they started to crossbreed with all the Pseudomonas syringae in the world, we might not be sitting here. It will stop. Because what you're going to do if you get it wrong, whistle them back in, you can't even see the damn things. You need a microscope to see them. How are you going to find them? That's sociopathic behaviour. That could have stopped life on Earth as we know it. We talk about climate change. Try doing that one and getting it wrong. Elaine Ingham started the soil food web because it looked like Monsanto, because Monsanto pulled all her research grants out of Oregon University, because she contested that they genetically modified an organism in the soil, a soil organism. Now, we don't know much about soil organisms at all. We don't know very little. We know a little bit about 1% of the organisms in the soil. There's 50 million genus of bacteria, 50 million genus of fungi. There's species in those genus. We know anything about it. Nothing much at all. We've ignored the soil life since the 1850s. Since we discovered sulfuric acid would break down rocks and make synthetic fertilizer. At the beginning of the chemical era, von Liebig discovered that we could break down phosphorus in rocks and make synthetic fertilizer. That was the start of it. And from that point then, what do we want to understand all this complication of the soil for? It's so crazy, it's so complicated. But only in the 1980s, we decided we could genetically modify an organism so that it would break down organic matter and produce alcohol as a byproduct. And then we get a fuel. So your farmer would crop a field and take the crop. Then the organic waste, he could pile it up and put this organism with it, and it would break down and make alcohol fuel. Great idea, right? I mean, we're going to make fuel out of crop residue. And it was about to be released, and Elaine Ingham approached the United Nations and said, you can't let this happen, because if you field test this, all plants on Earth could die. Because alcohol is a complete plant poison. So when they tested it in a laboratory, a sealed experiment, and put it with plants, all the plants died. But no one had tested it with plants. They'd only tested it with organic matter. 2 days before it was released, it got stopped. Again, you might not be sitting here if it had been released. How are you going to stop this thing if it starts going aerosol? Farmer puts it on his field, right? A farmer puts it out there in waste, it gets blown out onto the field, the farmer ploughs the field, the dust goes up in the air, it starts traveling in the atmosphere. These are microorganisms, they can come down anywhere. And all of a sudden you've got dead zones coming up right across the world, where every single piece of vegetation is dying. Now how are you going to track it down? I mean, you're going to have to try and nuke it. It's like a blob. Like, this is science without ethics on an extreme level. Check out Cynthia. Anybody keeping track on Cynthia? Anyone know what Cynthia is? Nobody knows what Cynthia is. Okay, Cynthia is an organism they just released in the last few months into the Gulf of Mexico that eat oil. They genetically modify a bacteria that eats oil. And they released it into the Gulf of Mexico. It is now eating all living organisms. It's called Cynthia. Big concerns. Get on Google, get on Facebook, Google Cynthia, you'll find it.
Cynthia?
Cynthia, the name, Cynthia. But no one knows what to do. This might be the bullet. Like, what do you do when you put, genetically modified organism into the ocean and it starts eating oil, but then starts eating everything else? It's like a really bad movie. And we don't have a global vote on like you're allowed to do this or not. Where's the democracy of the planet now? So we've got to start with ethics. Our behaviour has to have ethics. That's why, when you look at indigenous people, they usually had a set of ethics in the way they behaved so they didn't deplete their resources. And they often had quite a large variety of ethics. But if you break them down, they basically came down to earth care and people care and a certain amount of return of surplus to maintain systems. So if you look at sustainability, if it's a sustainable system, you ask people today, what's a sustainable system? And they usually waffle on for hours, many sentences, lots and lots of words. You need to define sustainability in one sentence. And if somebody's talking sustainable, you need to ask them, can you define it concisely, please, what you mean by sustainable? Because if they can't, they don't know what they're talking about, they've never lived in a sustainable system, they definitely never designed one. A sustainable system produces more energy. And it consumes. That's it actually, but most people, that's not enough. So you've got to put a comma here and say enough in surplus to maintain and replace its component parts. over their lifetime. I used to say enough in surplus to maintain and replace itself over its lifetime, but in America people are set down and the lifestyle lifetime, so I just put component parts. So you don't think of the thing having a lifetime. Only its component parts have lifetimes, and you have enough surplus to maintain and replace them. That is a minimum criteria for sustainability, and you have no surplus. You have nothing to sell, you have nothing to trade. That is just a baseline requirement to say you are in neutral. You're going nowhere, but you're not going backwards. If you want an economy, if you want to sell your Algerian produce, and you want an economy, you've got to have more energy. You've got to produce more energy than you consume. Over and above, then you've got surplus. And that's what we're going to do as designers. And the only way we can do that is to partner with living systems fueled by the sun. You can't do it mechanically. It won't work mechanically. As soon as the more mechanical elements you put into the equation, the more you go backwards on the energy audit. So this is energy auditing. It's like energy accounting. It's energy in to energy out. So you've got to rely on the largest free energy component. And the largest one there is out there is sun. If the sun stops, we've got another problem. If the sun goes out, there's some serious issues. Don't worry about sustainability. While the sun shines, we don't have to worry too much about being able to achieve this. But because we think mechanically, because we think scientifically, we almost think like that's not possible. People get challenged by that statement. They shouldn't. It's only design that stops you. It's only your imagination as a designer that stops you achieving that. So ethically, we have to be able to govern our actions and then aim for that as the achievement and beyond. And living systems are the main components that will allow us to achieve that. They will self-replicate. They will actually refine. They will develop over time. And when we look at society, permaculture in the larger society, this is something that everybody would understand. Everybody would be proud of their ethics. It would be the behaviour that would give you dignity. It would be what would make you proud of what you've achieved. So you would be continuously in a state where you would understand why you have clean air, and why you have clean water, and why you have clean food. And you would understand how your houses are sensibly designed, and how they achieve climate control that gives you comfort and warmth, and how community works as an interactive event, where just like ecosystems where you have great diversity, you also have great diversity of people in a community. One of the main reasons the early communes didn't work, and the eco-villages, why they turned into ego-villages, and real estate development, and capital gain in property value, is because they didn't necessarily put a community together. They didn't put a diversity of people together. When you live in a community, you don't necessarily like everybody. And not everybody likes you. But you see a great advantage of living together, because you have a great sharing of skills. So it's you might not like everybody, but you're committed to the same ethics. You're committed to the same engagement. and you have a shared understanding of the basics of this statement. So when you look at permaculture as it would exist in the larger community, it wouldn't be a little bit different from what we have out there now. It would be a great deal different, a very large amount, a massive difference. And many things will have to change scale. And it's much better if it happens gradually. It's much nicer if it happens gradually. With our intention. Permaculture by intention, by designed intention, is a very nice journey. It's a fun journey, it's good fun. I like the statement, if you're not having fun, you've got to design one. You have. If you're not having real good fun, there's something wrong. It's not people care. It's not you. You're a person. You're supposed to be people caring, right? You're looking after yourself. Then you're looking after your family. Don't go home and start community work. It's like, don't go home and plant trees. Don't plant trees. Stupid idea of planting trees. 11 trees in 1,000 die. Global average. 11 trees out of 1,000 live. 989 die. Global average. That are planted. Plant ecosystems. Don't plant individual trees. Plant ecosystems. Learn how to plant ecosystems. Start small. Go home and look after yourself. Garden for yourself. Then garden for your family. Then try helping your community as you get successful. It's infallible if you go about it that way. Start small. Get a result. Learn from the result. Extend it to your family. Then go out to your local community. That way you'll also build a lot of confidence. And you can only make small mistakes. People come to me sometimes with the most difficult projects. They come to me like, somebody came to me from the Gold Coast with a school garden. School gardens are often really difficult because they give it really the worst bit of land on the school grounds, and the groundsman doesn't want to do it on mow and spray. And the groundsman of the school is really difficult for often. Things are changing in Australia, but someone came to me with this. They gave them some land that was piles of soil that had been piled up on the school grounds about as high as this room. And it was all excavation. And it was the most horrible piles of clay and mixtures of materials. It was just awful. It was all subsoil excavation, and it was all really high and well drained, and just the most horrible thing to even think about starting a garden on. I didn't really know what to do, and I wouldn't know how to treat this soil. I wouldn't know where to start. It's just such a horrible beginning. But my advice was, get a styro box, like a little broccoli box, a styro vegetable box, styrofoam vegetable box. Get a few of them, fill them up with soil, take them home, and try different treatments of each soil. Check the pH, change the acidity, add certain levels of compost, add certain levels of mulch. Grow in that little bit of soil in one little box until you find the way you can make that box of soil succeed. Then when you know you can get it to work in one little box, then go and try and do it on the whole garden. But don't try and go and do a whole garden, because it's just going to be big mistake after big mistake after big mistake on a job that's really difficult to deal with. So you yourself are the same. You learn a lot from doing small work and then extending it. And the mistakes are so small, they're insignificant. And then you confidently extend within a boundary. Keep yourself within a boundary. And extend the boundary slowly. because the boundary gets longer and longer the further you go. Exponentially increases in length over the area. We're going to talk a lot about edge to area relationship. A lot. It's very hard to get your head around until you get engaged with it. And although I think there are moves being made by governments and moves being made by authorities, I think the biggest moves will happen from ourselves. We will set the examples. We will push the issues. We will spread the news with the open, especially with I didn't say Facebook, but with Facebook, with the internet, with the smartphone. We will be the ones that share the information faster than any government office or any FAO. I've just done advice for the FAO. I've just done 2 advisory write-ups for the FAO. And they got me to sign a contract. They want me to sign a contract of allowing me to use the information. And I would only sign it, and they're going to sign, they're going to be my signature and their signature. I'd only sign it, I said, if they allowed me to use it as an advert on our website. To say, look, the FAO are taking advice from us. And it was about back scratchers and chicken composting. Now this is the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Association of the World. It's crazy. These are some of the people who spread that aid week around the world. And they've just made another statement about small farmers. They've made a few statements. One particular one that's gone viral is that the only way we can ever really expect to feed the world is through small farmers and organic agriculture. Now they've made a statement that if you want to double the world's food production, give the food production to small farmers. That's just the latest statement that's just come out. It's gone viral again. And it's true. It's true. The only way we're going to feed the world and larger populations that are probably on the way is to go back down in scale and diversify and keep it close to populations, like I said before. They're all coming to the same conclusion. Because that's the only way you get that statement up there. The sustainability statement is not going to work on those large monoculture and scale blocks. So if you can imagine what permaculture looks like in the landscape and society, it's actually a very beautiful scene. And like Damien said, iteration by iteration, we will need less and less area to feed ourselves and to provide our needs over time. Has anybody read Farmers for 40 Centuries? F.H. King, Rodale Press? No? Sorry, I will mention a few crazy books. I've got probably, you can look up the resources page on our website and they're all there. Did anyone pick up on what I said before? The book, When the Rivers Run Dry? If you want to read about water and the global issue, Fred Pierce, When the Rivers Run Dry, awesome. It's one of those iconic books of recent years. But Farmers for 40 Centuries. F.H. King. Rodale Press. First published in 1911. F.H. King travelled through China, Korea and Japan, documenting agriculture. And he thought we would follow their model, which was organic. And at the turn of the century, China was supplying all its needs to its population on an average of 2 acres per person. America was, F.H. King's America, was American. America needed 40 acres. China was organic. Now China consumes more than 60% of the world's fertilizer. And yet it's planted more trees in the last 10 years than the whole rest of the world put together. Mostly for paper, to wrap up all the stuff they're producing. China has taken more people out of poverty than any other country than the rest of the world put together in 10 years. If you can call taking them out of villages and put them into factories a definition of removing people from poverty. Because what he describes as a Chinese village at the turn of the century is kind of funky. It's not permaculture. It's feudal, landlord, grain culture. It's organic. It's organic. And it's permanent, as long as you've got feudalism. As long as you've got landlords and you're enslaving people to empty cesspits and pick up manure and make millions of tons of compost and work forever in fields, mainly on a grain culture, it's permanent. It's sustainable. It's not people care. It's not permaculture, but it's permanent. Bill mentions it in the book. He quotes it. It's classic stuff. It's got great reference material. It's like reading quicksand. It's so hard to read. Because he talks about old weights and measures and old currencies. Oh, and it's got old photographs in it. Very, very early photographs. It's kind of funky. It's got great gems in there. There's gorgeous gems in there that roll out as you're reading it, if you can get your way through it. He talks about the economy of China. He does this amazing thing, and this is chapter 14 kind of thing. He says that you can judge the sustainability of the economy of a country by how many divisions they have for the common denominator. Like how many divisions there are in a dollar? Like what's the smallest coin you have? What's the American now? Not 1 cent? You still have a 1 cent?
It's not worth it. You can't do anything with it.
Is there a coin?
Yeah.
There's still a coin.
How many are actually in circulation? Like, do you have many in your wallet? Do you ever end up with many?
I don't.
They just pile up. They're
Yeah.
so annoying.
But you do end up with quite a few of them?
Yes.
Australia's got 5 cents.
Yeah.
I think England's on 5p. And what's England?
Yeah, it's 5p as well.
5p. You've lost a penny.
No, actually, no, it's still got two pennies and 1 penny as well. But again, they're still around and they don't really
Because I remember when there was 240 pennies in a pound.
Yeah.
And then we had halfpennies, and then we had farthings.
Yeah.
I can remember I think you could buy 1 blackjack for a farthing when I was a kid. That little horrible little sweet. So F.H. King said, the number of divisions in a dollar, or the number of divisions in your common currency, showed how diverse and sustainable your culture was.